Hello everyone, this is Miros Xavier Hunter, and this is the tropical weather update for September 19th, 2024. We have a lot to go over, so let's go ahead and get started. Currently in the tropics, we got three areas to watch here. First is the Caribbean area of interest, which has a 40% chance, and this could become the next hurricane threat for the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. And then we got two areas out in the central Atlantic with a non-tropical low that has a 20% chance, and then just east of it, the remnants of Gordon, which has a 30% chance. So looking at the current satellite here as of around 5 o'clock today here, like not much going on in terms of tropical cyclones. There are none, but we can see there is convection going on in both the non-tropical low and ex-Gordon. There's nothing in the Caribbean because nothing has formed yet. The jar has not even started yet, so it's going to still be a while until we see stuff popping up into the Caribbean. A little bit closer to our two areas of interest here, these systems have briefly went to a Fujiwara effect, which means they have rotated around each other here. But it is expected that the non-tropical low located here, will start to move towards to the west, and then Gordon will start to head to the north here. To be honest, the X looks definitely healthy right now with a good amount of convection here. But X Gordon has a lot of convection, but it's definitely spread out, so a lot of shear. There's no signs of a tropical or low pressure system in the giant amount of convection here, and it's starting to look unlikely that Gordon will redevelop into something. As you look at one of the inside models, this will we'll take a look at the Euro. Shows that there's a small chance that Gordon could interrise here onto the right side here, but it looks unlikely that it will develop into redevelop here. But they're starting to see some confidence that the non-tropical low may take over and become the next tropical cyclone here, but it is expected that this won't become strong. Maybe a depression, maybe a weak tropical storm here, but it's expected with the area of troughiness here near the air source that both systems will be picked up to the north and then head to the northeast out to sea. Alright, the main topic of this video is the Caribbean area of interest, which has a 40% chance of development. Currently, there's a lot of thunderstorms in this area, but there's nothing that is congealing or combining. These are just regular thunderstorms. The gyre that we're going to be talking about, the Central American gyre, is not, like I said, it's not formed yet, but we're looking likely that sometime during the weekend that we'll see the Central American gyre form, and then we'll start seeing a turning counterclockwise of the wind here. But like I said, nothing's going out here right now in the Caribbean, and it won't be probably until early next week. But let's go and talk about what we're working with this potential tropical cyclone in the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico. So again, like I said again, sometime by the weekend we'll have a Central American gyre, this broad area of low pressure that will be slowly turning clockwise. And then what's likely going to happen is that a piece of vorticity or two will break off the Central American gyre and then start to move up to the northwest here, and that will likely form a tropical cyclone with that gyre with the gyre right there. Though, how long it will take, or just how long does it develop, how long will it form, how strong it is completely unknown. We absolutely don't know. The models are all over it right now, and we'll go over some of the models what they're showing as well here in a few minutes here. But it is likely that we'll see some type of tropical cyclone form from a piece of vorticity from the Central American gyre. But in terms of track strength, it's is up in the question, and it won't be a while until we get a tropical low pressure within one of these vorticities areas. Conditions Conditions are very favorable for the system. First, you have the record warm temperatures in the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico. Temperatures running well above average, with Western Caribbean up to 31 to 32 degrees Celsius here, and then also same goes to the Southern Gulf of Mexico, which temperatures are in the 30s as well. The temperatures up near the Gulf Coast are a little bit down, but they're still very, very warm. That will still support definitely a strong hurricane king with temperatures up to 26, 20, excuse me, 28, 29 degrees up there along the coast. Still shells. So temperature, sea surface temperatures will be plentiful. And then another thing I didn't forget, but the ocean heat content is very deep. So the water is very, very deep. The very warm water are very, very deep. So it'll have a lot of water support going with the system. And then the second thing that's definitely going in favor is the absolute looks like pristine environment in the upper levels here. We'll have a ULAC, an upper level anticyclone over the system most likely. That was likely developed on top of the system, and that will be able to one create a low shear environment, and I will be able. I wish I put errors here, but it'll be able to vent out convection away from the storm, so it can be able to breathe out nicely, and that will support strength pressure falls, strengthening, potentially rapid strengthening if it is able to develop here in the rest of the Caribbean in the next uh, 7 days. So, as the system gets near the near the Caribbean or South Caribbean and South Gulf of Mexico, the steering currents are going to be very, very complicated here. Which we'll likely see, what means that we'll see a very slow and potentially erratic movement of the system. So we have multiple things in play here. We have the ridge currently located in the central United States, and then we're gonna have a weak trough here into in the Midwest here that will try to pull the system north, but the trough is weak enough that it may not do much to it. And then there is potential for a ridge or a small ridge to form off the east coast of off the east coast here that could send the system down a little more down to the southwest than usual. So at the moment, we're looking like that we'll see that the system will meander off the coast here for these meander in the Caribbean or South Gulf of Mexico for the foreseeable future. But if it does turn north, how fast is that going to turn, or if it will remain around this area over the foreseeable future, it's going to be very unknown here. I did not post the European model of ensembles of this graphic at the moment because it didn't came out yet on Tropical Tippets here, but depending on if this ridge shear located off the east coast builds or keeps it weak, it'll be a huge implication on if the system starts to pull more north slowly or moves more into the western area and maybe put the Yucatan into play here and potentially move into the Bay of Campeche or the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. But again, the tuning is still unknown here. But a weaker ridge will bring this more slowly more to the north here. But if you do get a more stronger ridge off the east coast, this may put the system more to the southwest and put more into the Yucatan area, which means that the development may be a little bit slower than usual. But it still is likely that we'll get some type of tropical cyclone in this area. But the question of when is again it's definitely unknown. So lot to go through here. But let's go and take a look at what the models are showing. So GFS model here, looking at 12Z, valid for September 19th at 12Z here, shows the first scenario with the weak ridge here. The system is able to pull vorticity off of the gyre and is able to develop here off the tip of the Yucatan between the straightaway between the Yucatan and Cuba, and ends up developing it as it enters into the southern Gulf of Mexico. As you can see, I'm only going up to 7 days out because that's what the NHC goes. We're not going to go and show you those crazy model runs that we've seen from the GFS over the past couple of runs here, but I want you to get you into the first 7 days here just to see what might happen here. So like I said, the system develops up to the north, takes the vorticity off of the gyre, and as it develops up to the Yucatan, and which it will slow down and meander around that area for the foreseeable future in the Gulf of Mexico. However, if you take a look at the European model, the gyre forms in the European model, but it's basically broad and very, very broad. So as you can see, at the last minute of France, the gyre starts to move up to the north here, but it keeps the system more to the southwest because of the ridge up to the north here, and puts everything into Central America, delaying development on the system until it reaches potentially into the southern western Gulf of Mexico, and then after that we don't know what's going to happen yet. But past that, it does ends up strengthening up to the north, even though I don't have it past 7 days here. But it delays development and pushes the system more into the southern Gulf of Mexico compared to GFS model that pushes it into the Western Caribbean and into the straightaway into the southern Gulf of Mexico. So those are two different models that are disagreeing. That just shows you just the uncertainty we have with these systems right now. So, if we look at the ensembles, we'll first look at the GEFS ensembles. But as you can tell, the GFS are very excited of basically early development of the system. Some of them actually go out develop the as of 5 to 7 days here, and they pull it basically north because if you have a strong system, the upper levels will feel more of the upper level, so it will feel more of that weak trough we have here uh, in near the southeast coast here. So that trough pulls that system more to the north here. We do have a little bit of stragglers here that do show that the system delays still development and keeps it more to the southwest here. But the general consistency of the GFS models has a stronger system that gets pulled north here. However, the timing is definitely different. Some pull it as fast as 7 days, and some of it keeps it strong, but meanders it near the southern Gulf of Mexico for the next few days as well. So there's still uncertainty, like I said, into the timing of the system. European model is also has some is a little bit different compared to the GFS model. There is a lack of development in the rest of the Caribbean. There's still a few stragglers that do try to develop here, but the majority of the models don't develop in the rest of the Caribbean. They stay in within the Central American gyre and move it into the Yucatan before the majority ensembles start to develop the system into the southern western Gulf of Mexico. So those are the battle of the basically the battle of the GFS and the European model here. Um, so that just shows you the uncertainty right now with this Caribbean area of interest. But it's likely that we'll see some type of tropical cyclone develop into the southwestern Gulf of Mexico or the Western Caribbean that will end up heading potentially meander first around this region and then get pulled to the north as a new trough picks the system up. New trough picks the system up and send it to the north here. So definitely the Gulf Coast states, Cuba, Yucatan, Gulf Coast states, and potentially the Southwest Atlantic should definitely keep an eye out and review your hurricane plans, as this will be again a potential tropical cyclone threat for all these areas here, depending on what the systems will do. Again, we still got a long way to go, but we still have a long way to go. But the best is to keep an eye on the system and start to review your hurricane plans to definitely get some supplies just in case we do have a tropical cyclone threat moving into this region in the next 7 to 10 days. So the key points. Once again, the Central American gyre will form over the Central America this weekend. It's looking likely that some type of piece of vorticity from the gyre will likely develop into a tropical cyclone in the next 7 to 10 days. Typical conditions are right for development of the system with record warm sea surface temperatures and a low shear environment. With the weak steering currents likely with the system, the track of the system will be very uncertain. So we'll like to see slow and erratic movement with the system, and that will continue to and we'll continue to see what the models show of what how the atmosphere is going to work between the ridge and the troughs that are looking north of the system, and we'll see if something where will the system go between the ridges and the trough that the models are showing over the next week or two. Once again, Gulf Coast states should monitor the process of the system for the potential of a potential tropical cyclone, potential hurricane threat for this region in the next 7 to 10 days. review your hurricane plans, know where you go in case of evacuation start to happen, and start to stock up on supplies around. So that is the tropical weather update for today. Continue to monitor the progress of these three systems here in the next over the next 7 to 10 days. Thank you for watching. This has been Meteorologist Xavier Hunter, and we'll see you for another update tomorrow.